So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Digital Extremes, they might have just struck gold with this game right here. Like, it's already that good. Yo, what's good? It's Miss Dora, and as you can see, I got access to Soulframe, which very likely is gonna end up being my next big addiction when this game fully releases. I mean, it's only in pre-alpha currently, and the thing already has me hooked. It's content light right now, given said pre-alpha state. Yeah, but the foundation and what's already present in the game has me mad excited. You see, Warframe, which is Soulframe's predecessor, it never truly clicked for me. Like, I did enjoy it, I liked it, but never loved it, despite really wanting to. Hell, I even tried playing it again recently prior to making this very video, but I just can't mesh with it for some reason, despite the game undoubtedly being cool as hell. But Soulframe, yeah, Soulframe did click for me heavily with its more deliberate, punishing, and slower paced combat when compared to Warframe. I think being the biggest reason as to why I just love it so much more. Even the grunt enemies can take you out if you're not being careful, despite your stats. To elaborate a bit on the combat, melee combat already has a really good flow and strategy to it. You got parries, blocks, dodges, and perfect dodges for defense. Remember when I said that even grunt enemies can take you out if you're not careful? Yeah, these are what I was talking about. If you mistime any one of them and you're surrounded or just facing a stronger enemy, oh yeah, you're getting jumped. It's gonna hurt. For offense, there's light, heavy, charged heavy, and jump attacks. Also, every single melee weapon can be thrown, and you can have it come back to you like it's Mjolnir. I myself like to play with sword and shield, and never, I mean never, got tired of throwing my shield like I'm Captain America. It just felt so satisfying, every part of it. Some weapons even have parts of their skill tree dedicated to powering up weapon throw attacks, making it a viable option for a build to be centered around. Oh, but ranged combat especially feels really good. There's a weapon type called magic, it's just outright called magic, which encompasses all magic-based weapons, either staves or magic slinging gauntlets, fly blades, which are throwable daggers, but bows specifically, in my opinion, feel particularly nice, having this nice, chunky impact to their hits. Headshots do make a difference too and feel satisfying to get, but the AI, it's no slouch and will try to dodge or outright bum rush you. So said headshots, they aren't freely given. All of that, when combined, together with Soulframe's unique approach to critical hits called smites here, it all blends into something I've yet to get sick of after quite some time. And smites, as well as combat in general, it does have a good amount of depth to it that I'm not gonna cover here for this video. I'm just gushing about why I like Soulframe so much while presenting some of the mechanics and aspects of the game just at a surface level to kind of show why I think it's so dope. So if you're interested in learning more about the specifics of combat or just anything Soulframe related in general, really, I personally think a channel called Sarah Loves Archery is your best bet if you're curious. Pretty much every question I've had about the game, they have videos that have covered it for me in like a clear and well laid out way. Soulframe currently doesn't really guide you a whole lot, even for basic things like, hey, how do I make progress? So videos like hers are mad helpful. For gameplay though, there isn't just combat. Exploration is huge as well, with a bit of light puzzle solving thrown into the mix that you'll come across in some of the dungeons and main quests. You'll even stumble across moments where your character has to stop and pull out an instrument and play a song to interact with the environment for quests or side tasks. Straight up Ocarina of Time style. I do think the instrument might be an ocarina as well, but I can't be sure. Nevertheless, it put a smile on my face when I saw it. And I hope that this aspect of the game is expanded on, as I personally find that exploring, then finding a specific statue, pulling out my ocarina to play a certain song that, then reveals a treasure chest containing some loot, it never gets old. But it'd be cool to have that mechanic, that, playing instrument mechanic, used for other important events as well. Maybe you even have a choice as to which instrument you would like, and even a free play option would be really dope as well, where we could play whatever notes we want in public areas where we see other players running around and our music is playing as they just stroll on by. Another huge thing that I love about this game, and this is something that does carry over from Warframe, is the build customization and freedom here in Soulframe. I love playing a Spellblade, Gish, Battle Mage, whatever you want to call it. In RPGs, that is my go-to. Here in Soulframe, I can do that, but in several different ways. Your character can equip a pact, essentially your warframe, or class as it would be called in other games. Essentially, your pact determines your arcanics, which are your active spells or abilities, whatever you like to call them, as well as some stat bonuses and a few unique passives, with each weapon type having its own skill tree, just like the packs do, each of which currently offers 2 different paths for said weapons progression. So it's your pact and weapons you have equipped that all together end up making your playstyle, with both being very important. Neither is like a minor factor. Maybe it makes more sense to think of your pact and weapon choices as making up your overall class, which totally works as a way to explain it. With this system though, there's a lot of room to experiment, play around, and craft builds with. Say I want to use the Oselda pact, I think that's what it's called, right? Or that's how you pronounce it, I think so. It has healing, crowd control, and damage dealing arcanics / spells. Even though the spells are nature themed, I can play that as like a paladin type character if I want to, charging in with my sword and shield, as I said, my go-to, slashing and blocking attacks in melee, while being able to heal myself or allies mid-brawl. And if close quarters combat gets a bit tough, no problem, I can turn my enemies to stone temporarily. Or on the flip side, I could lean into the druid / priest fantasy playstyle instead by equipping a staff or magical gauntlets, doing that healing and crowd controlling from a distance as more of a support character, while using magic weapon ranged attacks and a spell that summons a flock of birds to bombard an enemy for damage. Another quick example is the Orangal pack, which for its main spell, I would say, is the ability to summon wolves that act as allies in combat alongside you. It does have 3 spells, just like the other packs, but I think that's its main draw. Now, are you gonna sit back with the bow and pick off enemies from a distance while your wolves charge into combat and draw aggro for you? Or are you gonna pick up something like dual swords and charge right into the scrap alongside them? Both options have heavy ranger vibes, I would say, but the fantasy and how they'd play would be very different, with passives that support all of these playstyles from the skill trees of both the packs and weapons. You can see why I get mad excited at the different build combos that are possible. To talk a bit, and I do mean just a bit, as there isn't a whole lot there now, for the lore, plot setup, and world building, what's there and what has been teased all is really cool so far. I'm a big fan of the setting, just loving high fantasy in general, and specifics regarding the factions, conflicts, and history of this world do already fascinate me a lot, even if what we have so far is either pretty dang cryptic or just outright hasn't been explained yet. Again, it's pre-alpha, so it's not a complaint, more like a compliment sandwich, I like what's there. I'm sad to see what's missing, but still excited for all the lore and story bits to eventually be added in, to keep it going about aspects that I do legit enjoy about the game, but you can tell they aren't quite fleshed out just yet. Progression. it does take a while to get going, but does feel really good once you start unlocking and getting stuff. Like I said previously, the game is content light currently, but that's with regard to the story and main quests mostly. As it stands right now, you can get dozens of hours already out of just grinding, trying to unlock new armor, new weapons, new packs. Not only unlocking them, but progressing their skill trees and upgrading them to make them stronger too. Said progression being done via increasing your relationship with the blacksmith that you're going to have at your own personal hub area, you'll see if you play the game, but also by increasing your faction score with your respective faction of choice. We already know as a community, we've been told that progression is slated to get much better as development continues, because even the upcoming teased Preludes 11, that's the game's next big update, each update is a prelude, so Preludes 11 is said to have some pretty hefty adjustments and new systems implemented. But the game currently really doesn't guide you much on how to go about progressing given its pre-alpha state. And that specifically, the whole guidance aspect, I don't know how long it'll be for that to shape up. But even if it did remain something pretty cryptic and is up for us as a community to figure out amongst ourselves for a while, I'm personally okay with it. It ain't the end of the world. Back to just outright positives though, I do love the overall aesthetic and art direction of Soulframe of this game. It is chef's kiss, okay? The game is beautiful in terms of graphics, but again, those stylistic choices that were made as well. It seems like visually, there's a mix of several different real world cultures being the influence, as well as digital extremes throwing in their own unique ideas to create their own mythology, setting, and visual motif, which is a practice that is incredibly common and one I'm on board with completely. Character armor options look sick. Weapons, they look dope. I do think some spells, they could have a bit more flair to them. Like for some of these spells, it seems like the devs are a little scared, maybe, or stuff maybe just hasn't been fully implemented yet. Feels like they're being quite reserved with the special effects of some of them. But to me, those spells I'm talking about, they could be more flashy. You can give us a bit more in terms of effects and how they look and the visual impact. But for most of the spells, I would say they look great too. Overall, even though it's only pre-alpha and I fully suspect the, visual aspect to drastically improve, Soulframe is already a visual spectacle, to be sure. And lastly, the game already plays smooth as hell, running like an absolute dream on my rig. I was shocked, okay? I play on controller and it's already a near perfect experience, minus a bug or two. I was legit stunned at how well optimized it already was. There's games out here charging 60 or 70 bucks with their quote unquote full release, not early access like their 1.0 launch, and they run like absolute garbage in terms of performance pretty often. I got a mid-range PC build, nothing too crazy, but even still, 1080p, 60 FPS at like medium to high settings, I feel like that isn't asking for too much. And it seems like Soulframe and Digital Extremes agree and deliver such with no sweat. The game might be in pre-alpha, but I swear that's just from a content standpoint, and maybe like an additional system or two needing to be added and refined. This easily could have been advertised or explained to us as, it's a closed beta, and I would fully believe it. This is pre-alpha, but I would believe it if they were already at beta. It's that impressive. I would fully believe it. Digital Extremes have obviously learned and improved so much from their time working on Warframe. It's easily apparent here with their newest title, Soulframe. So in summary, I'm just gonna say that Soulframe is sick. You need to have this game on your radar if you don't already, and sign up for the playtest if you're curious. I've logged dozens of hours as of now and suspect to be logging does more even before the next update comes out. I mean, I cannot get enough of this game. I do foresee that when it fully releases, it's gonna become my main game that I spend most of my time with. Despite progress, I've already made on my account, I made lots of progress, put a lot of hours in. I really don't mind if there ends up being an account wipe or like progress wipe in the future, as that'll just give me an excuse to play this game even more. But what about you? Have you been excited for Soulframe? Was it on your radar, or is this like the first time that you're seeing or hearing of it? Be sure to let me know what you think of the game if you've gotten the chance to already play it as well. And what would you like to see added, removed, improved, or just changed overall? And if you haven't gotten the chance to play it yet, let me know what it is about Soulframe that has you excited. As always, I'm Mistora, and I'll catch you on the next one. Be easy.